I am being followed around the internet by a couple of slightly weird recipes. This one and this one. The common ingredient in those two recipes is gochujang. Gochujang is a fermented red pepper paste common to Korean food. It's spicy, sweet, savory, and even a little bit funky. I use it often in my kitchen, both when cooking Korean or other Asian foods, but also as a really good substitute in recipes that call for any sort of hot sauce. These two recipes piqued my interest because first, I'm seeing them all over the internet with mostly glowingly positive reviews, and second, because they use this traditionally savory ingredient in a couple of really interesting ways. So today we're going to test both of those recipes and see if the hype is real. First, we're putting gochujang in cookies and making gochujang caramel cookies. And second, we're going to mix it with some honey and garlic and put it over spaghetti noodles to make gochujang buttered noodles. I have to say that I'm pretty skeptical about both of these recipes, but as a true fan of gochujang, I'm excited to give them a try. We're going to start first with the cookies. Gochujang caramel cookies up next. This is a pretty basic sugar cookie recipe. The difference is that it asks us to swirl in a mixture of butter, brown sugar, and gochujang to the regular sugar cookie dough so that it creates this nice red swirl throughout. And while I am tempted to take the advice of all of the commenters that I've found on Reddit and on the New York Times, I am going to make the recipe exactly as described in the link that I'll copy below. So getting started on the sugar cookie dough first, because it has to rest in the fridge for a little bit before we can swirl in the gochujang mixture. Adding 7 tablespoons of very soft butter to a bowl. And interestingly, this recipe suggests doing all of this by hand. So normally I would cream together the butter and sugar with a hand mixer, but I'm just going to use a regular whisk. So we're going to add 7 tablespoons of butter, sugar, egg, salt and cinnamon, and a little bit of vanilla. And give this a good whisk. Okay, that looks whisked up pretty well. I don't see any chunks of sugar or butter. Yeah, looks good. So now we're to switch to a spatula. Gonna incorporate the baking soda. Stir that in. And now the flour. Okay, got this mostly stirred together. Looks just like sugar cookie dough. So this has to go now chill in the fridge for like 10 to 15 minutes to firm up a little bit, and then we're gonna swirl in the gochujang. Next up, we're gonna make the gochujang swirl. So a couple heaping tablespoons of brown sugar, in with about a tablespoon of butter, and then a heaping tablespoon of gochujang. So if you've never worked with this, it's very pasty, pretty sticky. It's a little bit hard to measure. You can always spray a measuring spoon or cup with a little bit of oil first. I just use what I know is about a tablespoon. I'll heap this and that'll be perfect. Easier to get off than my deep tablespoon measurement. So just reach in, heaping tablespoon, goes right in, and then we're gonna mix these things together. Really deep kind of brick ready color, and then with a little bit of butter and brown sugar. It's gonna be cool going through those cookies. That looks pretty well stirred together to me. So I'm just gonna set this off to the side, and we're just waiting for our sugar cookie dough to firm up a little bit. Okay, so it's a couple of minutes later, and I honestly am worried about being able to swirl this into my cookie dough if it gets too much firmer. So I cut it short of the 15 minutes. It's been in for probably like 10 minutes. So the suggestion is to do a couple dollops and then swirl with a spoon. I don't think I better go much further than that. That's as far as I'm gonna go. I might have even gone too far. And now we just scoop out onto some Silpat lined baking sheets. Ice cream scoop for about 1/4 cup of cookie dough, and 2 Silpat lined baking sheets. We're supposed to do 4 to 5 cookies per sheet. Okay, last cookie. Looks like I'm gonna get about 8 cookies. Here we go, 8 cookies in total. It sounds like it was supposed to make between 8 and 10. Mine might be on the bigger side, but this goes into a preheated 350-degree oven for between 11 and 13 minutes. And they're supposed to come out when they're still soft, and then we're gonna cool them completely. On to weird gochujang recipe number 2. This is the one that I'm especially skeptical about because I feel like it's gonna be incredibly sweet. There is about 1/4 cup of rice vinegar to offset the 1/4 cup of honey and the 1/4 cup of gochujang, but this is a lot of honey honey for a pound of pasta. So again, I'm gonna follow the recipe as written and reserve my judgment until the end, although everything in me wants to already make some tweaks to this recipe. I'm not gonna do it. So 1/4 cup each gochujang, rice vinegar, and honey. I'm gonna set these over by the stove. Most of this dish actually comes together over at the stove, but I have a little bit of prep to do first. I also moved my salt and pepper and my spaghetti over there. The other ingredient is butter, and it's 6 tablespoons split into a 4 and a 2. This is what we're gonna use to make our sauce with. And the other major components of this dish are 12 cloves of garlic, which is a lot of garlic even for me, but again, pound of pasta. Maybe it'll offset all of that honey, and a little bit of cilantro to serve with. So I'm just gonna process through some garlic. Okay, cilantro goes off to the side, garlic comes with me, and now we're gonna move over and make our pasta. Okay, here we are over at the stove. So I've got a pot big enough that my pasta can go into the sauce after my sauce has come together, and then I have a huge pot of boiling water that's already boiling. So I'm gonna generously salt this water and drop our spaghetti, a pound of spaghetti. So now butter goes in this pan, 4 tablespoons first. The 2 tablespoons is like a finisher for the sauce. Okay, over about medium heat here. We just want to get our garlic in and starting to cook. Like 3 minutes. We don't want to brown it necessarily, just make it flavorful and fragrant. Okay, so I'm going to keep bringing our sauce together. First, we'll put in the vinegar. Next, the honey. Next, the gochujang. And then I'm just gonna scoop the pasta when it's done directly into this sauce, add a little more butter, and we're ready to serve. Perfect timing, everything's coming together at once. Cookies are done. Ooh, they're huge. Okay, so now, move the pasta into the sauce. Perfect. And then our last couple tablespoons of butter go right on top. Yeah, I'm gonna call this done. Okay, time to plate it up. Let's taste some of these noodles. They are a really pretty red color. I will give them that. And a cookie. They're nice and flat. Ooh, those look so good. Okay, noodles first. Smell very gochujang-y, a little bit garlicky. They're not too sweet. They're spicy. They're fine. They don't have a lot of dimension. They're mostly just spicy. And I was very specific about my measurements, which I am not normally. Very garlicky, very spicy. I don't taste the cilantro at all. There's not even really any tang running through the background. It's mostly just spice. Let me try one more bite. I don't know, I can't decide. I don't think these are rave worthy, but it is an interesting and new for me take on pasta, especially spaghetti noodles. Mostly just spice that I taste though, and garlic. Would I rather have these over like a bolognese or a ragu? Probably not. Maybe they'd be better to add some protein to. I saw some folks were adding shrimp to these. That could be really nice. So they're good and they're worth trying, but I'm not sure that this would be something that I'd serve to guests. Maybe just for a really easy weeknight tossed together meal with a little bit of a kick. That might be the way that I would use this recipe. Not bad, but not anything super special to write home about for me, for my personal taste. Perhaps your mileage may vary, but for me, these are probably like, I don't know, a 6 out of 10. I'd eat them, I would be happy to eat them, but not something I'd probably serve to guests. Now for the main event. I'm really excited about these cookies. They look so good. They're huge, by the way. That's a really big cookie. So I reread the recipe. It does say that it yields 8. So I scooped them to be the right size, but you could definitely make them smaller if you wanted to. Get into these. They're still very soft in the center. So a little bit crispy on the outside, very soft in the center, which is to me a pretty perfect cookie. Okay, here we go. These are very good. These are like an 8 out of 10, maybe even a 9 out of 10. They're such a nice take on a sugar cookie. I like the crispy on the outside, the really soft in the center, ribbons of spice running throughout. They're pretty sweet though. The next time I make them, I might omit a little bit of the sugar. I don't know that I need the cookie to be as sweet as this is, but it's a really nice treat. These are good cookies. These are definitely going in the rotation. I really like them. Well, my curiosity is satisfied. I'm really glad to have finally made both of these recipes. I've been seeing them around the interwebs for months. They've been following me. And now I don't have to wonder what they taste like anymore. Recap. Cookies, absolutely, like 8, 8.5 out of 10. Really good, crispy on the outside, chewy and soft in the center, very flavorful, not too spice forward, and it doesn't taste weird like I thought it would taste. This kind of to me is like including miso in a cookie. I have a really delicious miso brown butter cookie that I like to make. If you're interested in that, leave me a comment down below. I'd be happy to make it. But they're just a good kind of all around really balanced cookie, though I might omit a little bit of the sugar next time. Pasta, it's fine. It's like a 6 out of 10. To me, it's not something super special. I would rather eat many other types of pasta than this. And if you're looking for something kind of unique, pretty spicy, this may be a place to go with it. Surprisingly, it is not too sweet. It isn't really balanced in any other way though than spicy. So I can see what the purpose of the honey was and the vinegar, but for me, it didn't really balance out the gochujang enough to make that much of a difference. Probably won't make this consistently, maybe won't make it again, but these are definitely going in the cookie rotation. Thank you so much for joining me today on this experiment in the test kitchen. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you've tried either of these recipes down below. I'm also always on the hunt for weird and wacky cookie recipes, so if you have any of those, please leave me a comment and let me know what they are. I appreciate you spending your time with me today. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. Would love to have you, and I look forward to seeing you here next time. Cheers!